All right. Hello. Thank you, David, for spending some time to discuss digital marketing. Um, we're going to try to hit a few topics, more of a basic background, something that's easy for dealer principals or GMs, GSMs to handle. We're going to try to keep it just as simple as possible. As a background, I know David. Why don't we start?
Yeah,
Give us your background, where you're coming from, what do you do?
sure, Miko. It's my pleasure. Whoever this content reaches, I just want to reach more dealers because part of my background, my father's been in the industry for almost 50 years, right? So my first job was a porter, washing cars. Grew up in BDC, sold cars during the summers, went to school for a mechanical engineering degree and got it, and then wound up in the digital advertising space specifically for automotive. So, over the last decade, have been able to refine the craft, been able to take that engineering, the mechanical engineering principles of problem solving and deduction, to be able to find different ways where we can use common digital advertising practices like SEM or SEO or Google, whatever, and use it in unique, creative ways that people aren't doing. At least what I see mainstream agencies aren't doing for auto dealers. And the passion really lies within, my dad is an auto dealer. He came from service. He was a journeyman. Then he came up to director of fixed ops. He's owned stores. So and now he's a consultant. And with that being said, it's really the family legacy in a way. So hopefully that gives a more clear picture.
Sure. And you like your main day job is you run a digital agency for dealers, businesses?
Yes, sir. So the day job is it's really the day business is digital marketing agency, right? I don't even like the term agency. I think it's a little bit outdated, and there's so many preconceptions with the word agency. So I don't even like to. I don't like to have the word agency a part of it, but we're more of a digital advertising solution and consultation firm, if you will. And it's my company and 80% of our clientele are automotive, right? And about 20% are other mix between local businesses and e-commerce companies. And I love those e-commerce companies because, man, you have to be seriously efficient with digital advertising, from conversion tracking to analytics to a lot of the attribution. And dealers, unfortunately, a lot of the tech stack is not as efficient. So I like to take a lot of the principles from these other types of businesses that we serve and then apply them to auto dealers. So,
Yeah,
for long and short of your original question, yes.
got it. Okay. And how many would you say, like, I don't want you to give out too many secrets, but like, how many dealer clients do you have? How many dealerships you're running?
Yeah, just under 50. Just under 50.
Got it.
So,
Okay.
and that ranges from, a lot of single points to um, a handful of really really awesome groups that are proactive and fresh on the scene and want to be number one. Like we have a couple stores, I'm not going to say which ones, but we have a couple stores in different pockets of regions like the Midwest, which are number one in volume, and
Nice.
from that group it's really about different manufacturers. So Chevy, Ford, Nissan, so on and so forth. So we mean business. I'm used to working in Chicagoland, right? Chicagoland's pretty cutthroat as far as auto dealers I'd say, compared to the majority of the nation. That's fast paced, a lot of advertising regulations.
Yeah,
So you have to be quick. So we apply that to everywhere. So 50, just under 50.
got it. And just give you a quick shout out. I checked your YouTube channel. You have a lot of content. I see you put out content all the time, and it gets very really granular. So if anybody's watching this and has more specific thoughts, something they want to explore deeper, I would invite them to go to your channel and search, because you definitely go in depth on specific topics for multiple videos.
Thank you,
Okay,
sir.
so I like to approach this as imagining let's say, I am a GSM or GM of a mid-size franchise dealer,
Hmm.
and I'm busy. I have customers. I have salespeople I have to yell at. I have business office that's on my case. So it's it could be too much to watch all yours and mine videos and learn the whole thing because there's just so much stuff going on, and it could be overwhelming. So that's because of that. I like to break it down to very easy, digestible instructions for dealers, or at least tips. Of course, there's no one solution to everything, but at least maybe
Right.
ideas. So to start with, a lot of dealers are struggling and thinking what to do, what's the right mix of third-party leads, right?
Yeah.
We're talking like you have experience with franchise dealers. So
Yep.
franchise dealer will have um, the brand leads, they will have their own leads, the website leads, and then every day Auto Trader, TrueCar, everybody is knocking on their door trying to sign them up for whatever package and sell them more leads. What's your approach to that? What's your general advice?
Great question. Quite literally an hour ago, I was on the phone with a large group and their marketing director, along with the general manager of a store, and we were going over the exact same thing of what you're asking, Miko. So what we do is we don't just act as, a lot of the YouTube channel may show Google ads a lot for car dealers, and that's cool, but I like to be a general consultant because I always want to frame, and this is why I get away from the agency part. I want to frame us as the true resource for dealers, that extension that they really don't have. Maybe they try and build internally, so on and so forth. So, consultants is really, I think, a better word. So, for example, we pull a daily lead report that compares a month to date leads versus a previous month to date versus a previous year month to date. And you would think that that's more basic because in e-commerce they have that a lot. But like Vin Solutions is an example. Their software, it really hasn't updated, in my opinion, a heck of a lot. So they don't have standard reports for that. So we pull that and we break it out by lead source. So we can actually see in all these different columns, hey, wait a minute. Our auto trader, and we're only looking at good leads too, by the way. I should show you an example. I should have prepped that one, but maybe we can do it at a different time. But Auto Trader has 3 good leads so far this month. We're paying them 7 grand a month for all this tech stack. Okay, well, if we continue that, they're going to have less than 10 good leads for 7 grand a month. The ROI doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. So that's a component of it. And then how we attribute our marketing is a lot. We point to the dealer website, right? So it has to be categorized under internet website leads. So that's a part of it. And we act as true consultants, just outside of the scope. For example, I had one store that had an $18,000 cars.com bill, and they were getting less than 40 leads a month. And they had some internet traffic stuff, but quite honestly, it was just some social retargeting where the people would just effectively leave the site and not spend any time and engage. We cut their budget in half, and they saw no difference in performance. I don't think that third parties you should be completely eliminated from. I do believe, however, that there's a lot of waste there. And I talk about Google too. There's a lot of waste on Google too. Google's a bottomless pit. It's a bottomless pit. So one thing that might be interesting for your viewers, and I'll let you go next, Miko, is um, I like to base our fees and consultant things on spend thresholds, but not a percent of spend, because we don't want to be incentivized to just up your spend on Google. Everybody else is. I don't want to do that. It's against of everything that I think is correct because we need to earn it. So,
Is this common that digital agencies charge percentage of the spend?
yep, I find it to be extremely common with single point stores, 12%, 15%. Some national website vendors charge 22%. So every time you have to spend more money, you got to pay them more fees. We don't do that. We base it off a threshold of spend because when you do spend more, typically accounts are more complicated. There's more complexities. There's more targeting adjustments. We have to spend more time. So I account for that piece, but I don't want to be incentivized to have a store spend more when it's not in their best interest because a lot of the times it's not.
Okay. All right. So let's see. Well, targeted ads, as you said, it's probably complicated and not something that a dealer by themselves should be getting into. Let's talk about social media.
Yeah.
Um, Again, like put aside digital consultant or agency.
Yes.
What would be like if you were a dealer? What would you do? What would be your approach to social media? Where would you put the most attention to?
Yes. Um, One thing that's been successful for my own channel is you create these long form pieces of content and then you have somebody take them and chop them all up and make them short form pieces. That would be the number one strategy I would say. So if I were talking to you, Miko, and you ran ABC Ford, in any town USA, and you sell 75 cars a month and you want to improve your social media following, I would say, okay, we need to construct a plan where you can, or one of your salespeople or what have you, can realistically produce X number of long pieces of content a month. And when I say content, I usually mean video, right? Long video content pieces every month. I would actually break it down to every week. So let's say we produce 2 to 3 and they're 20 minutes long a piece. Great. Then we're going to take those, we're going to chop them up into these little shorts, and we'll publish a short once a day. That'd be my go to social media strategy because over 3 to 6 months, no other dealers are effectively doing that, in my opinion. Maybe they're the top 5%. But if they do, social media is TV now, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I would recommend.
Okay. Well, that's actually perfect because it's the same thing that I've been working with our dealers, and just sometimes I think maybe I'm missing something. Like what's TikTok? What's going on TikTok? Everybody's talking about TikTok, and I refuse to get it. But that's exactly what we're talking about. Just make one video, put it on YouTube, then you can share it everywhere, and then you can splice that same video and use it for different platforms.
Correct.
Um, how do you feel about the challenge is, again, if I'm a average small dealer, I don't have time to deal with that.
Yeah.
I don't have budget to hire somebody, and I'm too busy to supervise and have somebody else do it. So those dealers tend to outsource it to the manufacturer or maybe digital agency. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I've worked for digital agencies that are all in one, so they do all the different services. And when you have an agency that does like an all in one service, it's good, it's nice. There's a single throat to choke, if you will. But the problem with that is they're really not a master of any specific craft, in my opinion, because they're spread too thin.
Yeah.
So there's a balance, right? There's a balance. So, with that being said, it's just as easy as if you're a GSM or you're a GM watching this, I'd make it part of the compensation plan. Spiff them, spiff them per car sale or spiff them per lead. Some of the most successful dealers, the simplest stuff works the best. The most organic stuff works the best. If you have a enthusiastic, young, techie salesperson, which I see a ton of every day, that usually are standing by the door and they're waiting for leads to come in because maybe there aren't any. If you spiff them in the right way, where they, do some video walkarounds, they show their face, they smile, they talk about it. I mean, that's all it starts. And you don't need big production crews. I don't think. I mean, you can if you want, if you want to spend five, six, $7,000, but I mean, these guys do a heck of a job now. And for social, that's what people want to see. So I'd spiff your salespeople. You can even tie it to every time they sell a car, then they got to create a video about the car they sold, whether it's a customer testimonial or a walk around or whatever. Or anytime a lead comes in, they should do a video walk around if they're not already. And then they can use that as content too. So that way they're not even, if they did that, they're actually killing two birds with one stone. They're following up with the customer and they're producing content. So I would do things like that. I challenge people to do that because everybody has the tools in front of them to be successful.
Yeah. Okay. That's perfect. Great. All right.
Mhm.
Let's move on. And I know this is something that you've been dealing with, and I've been dealing to and talking to a lot of people,
Yeah.
artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you heard, I got connected through LinkedIn with Savvy Dealer.
Okay.
You heard about them? You
A
know
little
who
bit.
they're? Yeah. So one thing I like, they build an engine. They build a tool. It's available online where you can plug in any website, and it'll tell you how friendly it is to AI. So that's just to throw out there, and this is what we're thinking about because it's a moving target. It's a very fast moving target. Nobody really knows what's going on. There's no way to pay your way to top of the right AI searches unless there is, and we just don't know about it. So again, if you're small size dealer, you're a new GM, what's your strategy? What are you paying attention to? What do you do to get ahead with AI?
Yeah. I mean, that's been the focus for our team for the last really 8 months. Because that's the future. I read somewhere that the founder of the internet, actually, um, God, his name slips me, but it was back in 1989. I'll think of it. He's from England, I believe. And he actually quoted recently that he believes that artificial intelligence and the way that it's going will be the death of digital advertising on the internet. And you're like, wow, because there's a lot of money in that space. So that's a pretty powerful marketing mechanism. So when people think of AI, especially dealers, AI can mean a ton of different things. It can mean an AI BDC, an AI chat, an AI follow up for your CRM, an AI this,
Yeah,
AI that.
I'm ignoring
Only
all of that, right? Let's ignore
okay.
all of that right now.
You're just talking about
And
marketing.
yeah, and I believe right now this is the important part, right? Because people go to ChatGPT or Gemini and they ask questions about car shopping.
Correct. Yeah, you're 100% correct in my opinion. We call it, I don't think they're even branding it yet, but there's GEO. Well, we have SEO, right? Search
Hmm.
engine optimization, but you might have
Yep.
heard of GEO, generative engine optimization, which I don't think the industry is claiming that one as much. I like AEO, answer engine optimization. It's
Okay.
simpler, it's
Yep.
not confusing. So when we talk about AEO, the basics of SEO are great, but they are not the same. And we're finding that in tests. We're actually coming on to a couple of really awesome case studies in the past few months. I have 4 out of 5 stores that we've tested some content production things on where we have Google Search Console as a measure of how someone shows up in Google. We have their Google Search Console going off the charts by the content and the way we're doing it. And because of that, they are actually able to get ads for cheaper. They actually get double the amount of clicks for their ad spend. Their leads go up and their sales went up. I just had this happen to a Ford store and it actually helped them take number one in the state. So, I mean, if you know how to work it, yeah, it's really effective. And the key is, you know, we don't really know the path yet. So I'll give you this one instance and I want to let you have time to ask whatever questions you have left. But in part of our consultation package that's different, a lot of agencies will say, this is your SEM service, this is your SEO service, this is your social media. We don't want to do that. I actually put a specific line in our content building surface that is testing only. So we reserve not only ad budget, but also deliverables to test new things. Because we know, like you just said, Miko, we know that we're not going to know the right answer right away. Something that we do today is going to be different than 2 or 3 months from now. So we leave that little deliverable open so that we have the room to pivot and our team is not stuck saying, oh, well, this is what we were supposed to do. Well, no, we have to do something different. So hopefully that helps. And I'd love to share case studies at some other point because I have raw data as far as website traffic, internet leads, volume of sales and then sales position for specific stores to show this really does work.
Well, that explains like how you work with an agency, but again, and I'm trying to get you to give up some of the stuff for free. I understand you might, if they're like trade secrets, you don't have to give up all of them. But again, I'm a dealer.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm not ready to hire you as a marketing agency or consultant.
Yes.
Can
Yes.
you give me some like what should I concentrate on first? Like
Yes.
where do I go? What do I do with my website?
Yep. Here's what you should do. You should go to Google and type in, let's say you sell Ford Explorers. Type in new Ford Explorer for sale, and then you're going to scroll down to a section on Google that says the people also ask section. Okay. And this has been around for a while, but you'll find that there's a bunch of questions in order, right? And whatever their order is from top to bottom, you'll see that in the people also ask section, those are the answers that people want that have questions for. So, what I would do if I were GSM, I would say, okay, everybody, here's your new Ford Explorer for sale, all the questions that people are asking. Here's your new Ford F-150, all the questions people are asking. I want to get the salespeople to do all the walkarounds, to create content about it, to do that type of stuff. We'll give it to our website provider. They'll post it on the web. But everything like social media, all the different stuff that you guys talk about, conversations with customers, so on and so forth, take those list of questions and use that as your script to answer. Because Google's giving you the answers.
The
So does
questions,
that
yeah.
help? Does that help
Yeah,
answer your question?
absolutely. That's exactly. That's perfect because this is what's missing maybe sometimes. It's actionable, something that's actionable and simple enough. Because I'm sure that I can ask you a question about, GA4 and you'll talk about this for 2 hours and then nobody's going to do anything because half of the dealers don't know what GA4 is
Yep.
and the other have lost their login. Um, so
At
yeah,
quick actionable items. I got you.
yeah, okay. So that's perfect. So we got social media. We talk about third party. Let's talk about do you do anything or no, or like what's your opinion on CRM marketing campaigns or digital agency campaigns where they just scrub the database for the dealership and start pounding them with I don't even know what. I do mystery shops a lot, and I have examples of dealers just like every 2 days they send me something that's so what do you have to say about that?
Yeah, number one thing for any store is make an email as a generic email, whether it's your spouse's, your child's, the one that you make. Subscribe to all your stuff. Enter yourself as a customer. Don't tell anybody about it. Just pretend you're a lead and see how you get marketing from your store. That'd be number one. Um, because you'll find so much out that way. Um, when you talk about CRM marketing blasts, usual cadence, I'd recommend one per month, right? If you have some sales promotions, you can increase it. A trade mailer is huge, followed by an email campaign for trade mails, but I wouldn't saturate your database very often, once a quarter. You could do it a little bit more if you want. But those would be kind of my frequencies of items. Yeah, people look at the emails that they get. They don't necessarily click on things, but it's good awareness if you have a lot of opens. I think clicks is not that great of a metric to go by if you're talking about email marketing campaigns. Um, I do more opens, so you can see more reasonably how many people open it. But there's a lot of technicalities to it. Trying to think, did I cover? The main thing is, like you said, Miko, you mystery shop yourself. And there's technology out there that I use for AI mystery shops, which are great. But mystery shop yourself, you'll uncover a lot of the answers to your questions once you actually pretend to be a customer going through your process. You'll uncover way more than I'll be able to unpack. So,
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. And that makes sense. And another thing that again, it's really hard to put get exact data on it, but we see and we measure a mystery shop if your email gets through the spam folder, and it will kind of make sense that if you email everybody every 2 days, then all your emails are going to go to spam folders.
Yep. Yep.
Right.
So, yeah, the most I'd recommend is once a week blast to everybody, but that's a lot, right?
Yeah.
There's programs out there that do like a drip flow sequence. That's okay too if you use the tool, but minimum once a month. Once
Yeah.
a month.
All right.
So,
And you mentioned like the trade-in mailers. This
yeah.
brings up equity mining. Um, so it's a big subject because like what Toyota has their own tool that they give to dealers for free, Signal underutilized. It's kind of basic, but there's Automotive Mastermind.
Yep.
That's I think is the bigger one, right? And I'm sure there are a few in between. Um, what are your opinion on those? Is this something good? How would you put it in the whole structure?
Yeah. The most common one I see is auto alert. That's the most common one. I think they're great. You just got to use them. And is someone using them properly? That's like any tool, right? Is someone actually using it properly? Like CRMs are like you know, a must have. You got to have a CRM these
Yeah.
days, right? My dad tells me about, well, we used to write everything down on the entry book and legal pads and things like that, but now you got to have a CRM, and you have had to for a while. But I see stores that don't use their CRM correctly, right? So if you have a tool like an auto alert, a mastermind, or Signal, like you mentioned, percent utilization, if there's some sort of report from these softwares that say what percent of your team is utilizing the software, I'd start there, right? And I'd go, okay, this person's using it at 80%. That's pretty good. This person's using it at 30%. Now we have something to work with. It's only going to be as good as you use it.
Yeah.
They're all worth it as long as you can use it.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So, David, great stuff. Is there anything that you feel that you would want to throw out, maybe a different subject, or extrapolate on something that's going on in the market right now? 2026, we're in the new year. Whatever's going on, EVs are all thrown off the thing. Their tariffs. So, anything we didn't cover that you feel that's important, again, for imaginary small size franchise dealer.
That we didn't cover. Hang on, let me synthesize that for a second. The biggest thing I'm talking about, we've already talked about, and it's really the marketing play. Everybody wants more opportunities. Um, Answer engine optimization is the biggest. And it's not just about writing content that lives on your website. I actually find better rankings on answer engines if you're making video content that you upload to YouTube. And that's probably how you discovered me, Miko. That's what I'm thinking. So with that, um, you got to have a presence. You got to have a video presence on major platforms. I am very proponent on YouTube because there's just a lot of emptiness in the space, or people that are doing it, I think aren't doing it tailored to the platform. So that's my biggest one because once you do that, you have this sort of brand authority, and that's going to trickle into everything AI because you'll be the
Yeah.
subject matter expert, right? So answer engine optimization, AEO, if we don't hear that at NADA or at Digital Dealer too much yet, just know it, be prepared for it. It's not just SEO souped up. It's really not. So that's number one.
Okay. Awesome. All right, David. Well, this was really helpful. Thank you so much. And we're going to stop the recording.
Cool.